Well, good afternoon, and here we are about to do some soldering. And we'll talk about my preference for irons is this thing right here, a Hakko, if that's the way you pronounce this, no one's ever corrected me, FX601. And you can set the different temperatures you want. Since I haven't used it on this piece here at all yet, we're going to set it maybe a little bit lower. So I'm going to go down to this 410, which is in Celsius. I have no idea what that, means in Fahrenheit, and it doesn't really matter. I could turn this thing wide open. It's how you learn how to use this iron. And what we want to do here is we want to get a nice, good-looking solder joint, and I'll just practice with you right at the same time. So let's start. Since we don't know exactly how hot this iron is, let me mention something else. This iron, the hottest part of this tip, and I'm using a little bit wider tip this for lead. I have a much narrower tip that I use on real intricate copper foil. But on lead, we're going to use this little bit wider tip. And we may, as we roll along here, turn this heat up on this thing. I should mention that the flashing light here means that you're at temperature. I'll show you something. If I turn this thing up and want more heat out of it, the light then will go blue until we reach that temperature at which we've set it. And that number doesn't mean anything to me. I'm going to start out at what I normally, there it is, 410 now. I didn't have it set on 410. Okay, there's 410. So I normally probably run a little bit hotter than this because I solder pretty fast. So we're going to start out at this lower temperature because we don't want to melt or burn any of this stuff up. So what we're going to do, and I'm using this gel flux. I use 2 or 3 different kinds of flux. I like this stuff right here pretty good. Gel flux. It doesn't really make that much difference to me. I have a liquid flux that I use. Sometimes I mix the liquid flux with the gel flux. Makes it a little, looser, more liquidy, but that doesn't make any difference either. All right, so what I'm going to do here is that we're going to go on the zinc first. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm really not familiar at this moment on this particular piece how hot this thing is, and I don't want to jump out here on the lead and find out I'm super hot, because when you melt lead, you don't really melt it. What happens is it just vaporizes, and you end up with a hole there. I hope that doesn't happen on this piece. That hasn't happened to me in a while. But if that happens, I'll show you how you fix that. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, I don't really want a hole, but if we get one, I'll show you how you fix it. There's a way to fix it. Okay, so, and then like I said, I'm using 60-40 solder, and I usually just cut off the roll a piece, I don't know, about 3 feet long. Just easy to get to. And what we're going to do is we're going to go right here and see if this is warm. Yeah, that's warm. Okay, and I'm just setting on that thing just a little bit. Now I'm going to bring it right to the edge of the lead. I didn't particularly like that little look there. I need to get down. I'm trying to get away from the camera and see what we're doing here. I think we need a little more flux there that appears. It's actually looking pretty good. Let's go back down there. I'm looking for a nice smooth joint there. There you go. Okay. I'm trying to look to the side of that and see what that looks like. Here's another one. Let's go down here a little bit longer. This iron is actually a little cooler than what I want, so we're going to turn it up. That's a good looking joint. Okay. So I'm going to turn this iron up to the next notch up. Right there. Let's go out here on this zinc. And see, I'm just setting the iron and then lifting up. Okay, now that solder has sunk down into that crack there a little bit, so let's go back and get another one and come back up again. Sank again, so let's do it some more. We're going to come back to that. That's real hot. So let's go right here. And I'm setting right on the zinc and pulling out onto the lid. Very nice. Out onto the zinc. Out onto the lead, just kind of touch it. There, now we're starting to get the feel of the iron. And what this is really, I'm going to go back right here and see if I can get it. Oh, yeah. What this is really about, this lead soldering, is that you start to get a feel for what's going on underneath this soldering iron. And if you're a little bit warm, you can get out here on the tip. Now what we're going to do is get toward the tip of the iron. See, I'm going to exaggerate this, but I'm going to turn the iron up a little bit because I'm a little cautious right here. Now I'm going to go back down. I want it hot. I can feel right now that I'm not that super hot. Oh, yeah. Now let's go right here. Oh, these will get a lot better as we... That's a little narrow right there. There you go. Okay. Now let's go here. Now I'm actually setting the iron on the lid. Coming up. Setting the iron on the lid. Coming up. I'm starting now to get a feel for... I swear, every time you do one of these, it's kind of like... it's not that you haven't done it before, but you need to get a feel for the lead and the solder and how it's working underneath here. I'm telling you, that's some good looking stuff right there. Okay, let's go, while we're in this area, let's go right here and we'll get a little bit more. I'm feeling more comfortable with the iron. It's about comfort. And I've been doing this a long time, and certainly you don't want to melt this lead, so you... comfort level. I had the iron to start with just a little bit cool, so we cranked it up just a little bit. Okay, here's 3 intersections, or 3 leads coming at one intersection. Now I'm up on the tip of the iron first, just melt a little solder. Let's see, I'd like to have a little more solder right there. That looks good. Okay, let's go right here. Here we are, 3 again. See, I'm moving that iron just a little bit. Now, it doesn't seem to want to stick right in that area right there, so maybe we didn't get it clean enough, but we're going to come back now and rub it real good with that flux and come back now and just a little light touch here. There you go. See how I heated the right there and brought the solder up to there? Let's go back here and pool that out. Oh, yeah, that looks great. All right, we still have these. Let me make sure that the camera is in a place where you can see this. Okay, now, there's only 2 here, so maybe not need quite as much heat. There, that's nice. Let's do both of these at the same time. Nice, nice. So I'm starting to get a feel for the heat, the lead, the solder. Oop, not a good joint. See that? Okay, now that most likely means I didn't get that steel wooled off real good. So we'll come back, put a little flux there. There we go. Oh, yeah. Okay, we rescued that one. All right, while you're here, let's go out this direction. We'll do some of the hard stuff here. Let's go here, 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 and here. Right there, too. I remember back, about 40-something years ago, this just gave me a lot of trouble. I could not get this right. Globbed up joints. I just couldn't get it to work right. I don't know when the light came on, but finally it did. Okay, I'm back up here. These irons will heat up real fast. So, back up here on the tip again. I'm not trying to get the heel of the iron on that spot right there. There's 4. See, I'm setting on there right there and then lift. Oh, gee, that's beautiful. It's a delicate little dance. You come down and you're on that joint, heating that joint up. And I'm still on the joint, lifting. Okay, let me get a little more solder right there. All right, let's go. I'm looking in the camera, make sure you can see this. Let's go right here. My soldering iron is touching the joint. Okay, I'm lifting up. And there's a little spot right there. Oh, man, that's beautiful. All right. What you're doing here, here's another one. What you're doing here is my iron is touching the joint, lift up. The reason you lift up is you want to pool. This becomes a liquid, right? You want to pool that right under that joint. Okay, now I'm touching the joint with the iron, lifting up. touching the joint with the iron, lifting up. Okay, and what's happening under there is these are two dissimilar metals. Actually, well, that's true because you've got 60% tin here and 40% lead, and then lead here. So two dissimilar metals. And you're heating this up, and that accompanying, or the lead that you're trying to solder to, needs to get hot too, so that they all meld or weld together. And it gets really pretty, or somewhat difficult, because that lead melts at a lower temperature than this solder. So I'm sitting down there on that joint with the soldering iron, trying to heat that joint up enough that they'll all weld together. There's a real fine line right there, where if you're down there too long, it just vaporizes, and what you have is a hole there. And I should tell you, I don't want to put a hole in this thing to show you how to fix it. But if we were on this joint right here and we were there too long, made a mistake, iron too hot, whatever it is, that's going to be a hole right there. What I do with that is I'll just get some copper foil and I'll wad it up a little bit, set it in that hole, fill that hole up, and then if it's real bad, let me get something to mark with here. I'm looking for my little pencil. Yeah. Okay, say the hole was in an area this big, all the way clear out to here and here. Well, then I might take copper foil, and I need to clean this thing up now because you've got flux on it. So clean it up, and then I'll take copper foil and make myself a line right along with that lead, and also do it right here. Then you've got to solder down the tail of that foil there, and there, and there, and then come back and float your solder in. And you can't tell that you ever had a problem with it. Now, I would really rather not have to do that on this. I'm not saying it won't happen. It does rarely for me anymore, but at one time, I had every issue you can have with this. So the people that are watching this video, and I'm assuming there are numerous people that are interested in lead soldering watching this, I've already had every mistake you can possibly make. And if you're having problems, I'm making the same mistakes, or I did in the past, that you're doing right now. So now, while I was talking, this iron, well, of course, this iron is a constant temperature iron, so it didn't really heat up. Although we were soldering pretty fast there, we might have cooled down to the point where this blue light was on, and indicating that we weren't back up to this temperature that we're at now. But this is the best iron I've ever seen. And people, I've said this before, people that they get used to a soldering iron and it becomes a member of their family or something. If somebody says something against their soldering iron, they get all upset. I'm not trying to upset anybody about what soldering iron to use. All I can tell you is that 47 years of soldering, this is the best one I've ever seen. I love this thing. All right, now we're going to go, because we're been talking and the iron's back hot as it could get. We do have it set on a limiting temperature. We're going to go back on the tip of the iron, because that's the coolest part of the iron, back up here, because I don't want to go in here with a lot of heat and blow this thing up. Now I'm getting real careful here because I've been talking. Beautiful. All right, let's do another one right here. See, kind of just nurse this along a little bit. I'll just shove some. See, now I'm lifting up. There you go. Boy, and I'm telling you, you get solder joints that look like these, and then you come back and cement this thing. And I'll show you. I'm using a particular kind of cement that not very many people use. You cement this thing, and then the patina, and you've got this gorgeous window. Because from the very beginning, you stayed on your cartoon, kept the straight line straight, kept the piece square, fit the... Here, the worst fitting lead on this whole piece is right here in this area. Let's just do this. I'm going to get over here where make sure everybody can see this. Okay, this is where the worst fits I have are right here. So we'll work this area right here. All right. Let's see what we can do with this thing here. You know, I'm going to clean that iron. I just have a little sponge over here. Akko says don't use a sponge. They sell you this little brass box with this, looks like some kind of brass scrubbing pad. I just can't get that thing to work. I just use a sponge. Now I'm careful here because this is a big joint. Whoa, man, that's nice. Goodness gracious. Okay, now all the consternation that I had underneath there disappeared because we've got a good looking solder joint. Let's see what we can get right here. Now, I'm staying here a little longer because I got a big joint. Oh, man, that's pretty. All right, let's go right here. Right there. Oh, I tell you, I remember so vividly how much trouble I had with this. And this just, I love to solder because I finally figured out how to do it. And I hope I'm helping you. Oop, got too much solder, see there? Get too much solder, move it a little bit. Okay, let's go right here. So I'm holding the iron like this. I'm not holding it like it's a baseball bat. It's a delicate instrument, particularly when you're working with this 3/16 lead. Now we want that to appear to be nice and round. Look at this. Nice and round. Look at that. Oh, man. Oh, that's just a thing of beauty right there. Because now, remember how all chopped up and, you know, look at, well, here's one right here. We're going to round this up right here. Make that look pretty. Get you over here just a little bit right there. Heck, we're soldering the hardest part of this thing right now. Let's get this one up here. I'll make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, according to my screen here, you can see that. So we're here. Let's go here. Oh, and we'll come down here and do this here. I'm so excited about the way this is going. We'll see if we can make that look like something other than some glob. Okay, holding the iron, going out on the tip again because I don't want to get too, and you can always lower and get into more heat. There you go. I'm on that joint. And this time I would want a little more, I want some solder up here a little bit. Don't have it yet. Okay, I'm going to come back because I want just a little solder right up on the top of this thing. So let's do this and this. And then now this might work out for me. Not exactly. There it is. Okay, right there. Now let's bring this down, bring that down right there. Okay, you see what we did? We cleaned up a joint or a line that just wasn't as smooth as this side over here. Okay, where are we? Well, let's see. I thought this was the hardest part. Here's the hardest part of the whole piece right here. So let's just go get that done. And I'll show you how it's nice and gentle, nice and easy. Get that, and I'm really dabbing the flux on there, more or less kind of cleaning the lead while I'm at it. I still wool this thing pretty good, but we do not want trouble here. Okay, and we don't want this to look like some giant wad here. I'm cleaning the iron. See the iron nice and clean. So let's go. Here's a pretty good sized hole right here. Okay, now. I'm going to put just a touch more solder right there. Oh, yeah. Okay, and then right here. See, I'm lowering the iron down. There you go. Okay, now I don't want to glob a lot of solder into this, so we're going to just be real delicate with this. So we're going to come right here and get these joints right there, and we need a little more solder. All right, that's beautiful. Okay, now let's come and try to get these two. Pull back a little bit right here. We're going to come back and clean that up just a little bit. It's not perfect. Okay, I like that. Let's move this out here just a little. And see, we're pulling this at the same time. Pull that, pull that. Let's pull this again. So I'm trying to get those ripples out of there. Oh, yeah. Let's go right here. Now, do I like that? Let me look. Yeah, that looks good. I don't know. It's not exactly what I have in mind. Let's come out here just a little bit. There, I like that a little bit better. Oh yeah, no, I'm starting to like that better. Let's go right here. Now here, what we're trying to do here is we want to preserve these long, slender little lines all in right here. And see, those are all preserved. If you get in here with too much solder and start, you know, flooding this area, that solder's going to come out here and you're going to have a hard time. I know how to get this back out of there, but we don't want to have to do that. So now we preserved all the beauty of this sharp glass line all the way down into this thing and then across here and there and there. That's all preserved. And you got this nice round piece right here, and it's all done right in there. That's really nice. That's really nice. Okay, let me take a, see, can you see this? Oh, this is no big deal here. Anybody can do this, but all I'm going to do is I have a short piece of solder. So I just sit and hold that for just a second. Let that harden up. There you go. We've connected to our next piece. So let's go. You know what we're going to do. I'll show you the beauty again of being on a board. There we go. See, I got it moved around now where I'm down on top of it and I can see it. Ah, this is working pretty good, pretty good. Okay. There. I'm looking back over here. Sometimes I miss. I'll catch it. I'll go over these things 2 or 3 different times after I get through with one of them, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything right off the bat from where we are. We'll go right here. Oh, I don't know why we just don't do them all. We'll just do them all. All of these, and this will be the hardest part of the whole piece to be done. Okay. Iron looks good. I see a piece of, what do you call this stuff? Steel wool. All right. So I'm looking through the camera. You can see me. So let's go back up here. And since I've had the iron set just a little bit, I know it's back up to temperature. I'm going to back up on the tip now because I don't want to introduce the hottest part of the iron yet. Now I'm bending down. Oh man, look at that. Okay, and see now, all I'm doing that moving around is just moving the solder. See, let's do this. And then I finish up setting, the iron is still setting on the joint, lift. Still setting on the joint, moving the solder around a little bit. Okay, lift. Set on the joint. I'm feeding the solder into the iron. I'm setting on the joint. I'm staying a little bit longer now because the iron is cooling down. Man, that is a gorgeous joint right there. All right, let's go here. Okay. Moving around. Still there, lift. And that one could use just a little bit more solder. So we'll do it again. We're moving around. See there? Lift it. I'm looking. I swear I'm not getting enough solder right out this way. There you go. Okay. Okay, you can see this. Let's do this one. Lift. Down on the joint, heating the joint. Lift. Okay. Down. I'm down on the joint. Now I'm bending down now because we got 4 holes there to fill. Oh, wow, look at that. Let's go right there. Make that better. Okay, here we go again. I'm on the joint. And this one's not taking real good. So, you can see it. I can see it under the edge of the iron. So that joint might have been a little bit dirty. Didn't have the flux on it good. There it is. I don't think that's that great either, so let's do it some more. Lift. Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, here's another one. And this 3/16 lead, is, I don't see any flux on that one there. This 3/16 lead is among the more difficult leads to solder because it's narrow and it won't take a lot of heat. But you can see, you know, you don't have to worry a lot. You just have to realize at what point you need to lift up. And that's something you just learn. You'll begin to feel it. But see, I'm on the joint. The soldering iron is touching the joint. Need some more there. Lift up. There you go. Whoop. Okay, here we go. Soldering iron is touching the joint. Lift up. God, man, that's beautiful. Okay. Here we are again. Oh, yes. All right, let's go right here. And what do we got here? 1, 2, 3. Larger intersection here. Spread out a little bit, and I've bent down real good on this one. Beautiful. Oh, I'm not crazy about that. Right there you go. Let's go right here. Oh, those are sure nice. I certainly don't want to sound like I'm bragging. I'm not bragging. I mean, if they weren't any good, I'd try to figure out what was wrong. But they do look nice. Okay, we're going to get right to the upper end of this thing. Okay, here we go. Lift. And see that what you're doing, if you're soldering, and I see them on Facebook, people's work. If your soldering joints are sitting up on top of that lead, guess what? You didn't get the solder and the lead hot enough for it to actually weld or become one. Ooh, we got a lot of solder there. There it goes. See, I'm still on that joint, lifting up. Okay, now out here we're a little more difficult. Got several different things going on. You got the zinc out here, which is going to require more heat. The lead requiring less. I'm on that longer. There you go. And we'll probably be on this one even longer because the iron's cooling down. There we go. And I'm waiting on that to sink. No, not bad. Okay. Do we get on this? Yeah. Right now, let's swing it around some more. I hope that you're starting to understand that this is just practice, but mainly understanding what's going on underneath that soldering iron. We're going to go clear across here, and I'll move this along the way so you can see what I'm doing here. All right. So here we go again. Lifting up. Whoa. Got a little wad of solder down there. Lifting up. Oh, those are gorgeous. Let's see. Get you right here. Lifting up. I'm going to weld another piece of this solder. Just give me a second here. Get this ready to go. Yep, you can see this. Well, this is working out. I'm not going to cement this thing till tomorrow. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Man, we're rocking and rolling here. If you get any... what was happening there is that solder was flowing into that piece, and what happened, I had a little too much solder on it. So just pull it out, push it that way, pull it this way, and get it out of that, your mistake with a little too much solder. And see, once you pull it out there, it welds real easy because you're only out there on one little strip rather than the junction, which is going to require more heat. Let's go here. Yeah, this stuff. I'm getting this stuff all over my hands here. Let me wipe that off somewhere. I'll be back. There you go. That's what I like so much about this 3/16 lead, is that if you get the window put together right, and then you get any good at this soldering, boy, you can make just a stunning piece, because the lead is narrow enough that you're really showcasing the design. And a lot of times, as a hobbyist or somebody that's not into this stuff for any length of time, your tendency to make stuff a little too wide. In other words, the design is a little too predominant. The copper foil you used is too wide, and it didn't fit the design. Real intricate work means, small, more narrow foil, and larger pieces you can, use larger lead, larger foil. I think I'm channeling old Bob Ross here. I saw that Bob Ross documentary here not too long ago. Gee, that guy had some serious skills, and he had all kinds of business problems with, I don't have to, I don't have to worry. I'm not that. But he was really successful, in the millions of dollars and stuff. I'm just some guy fiddling with glass, but he was so good at it as a teacher. And I used to teach electronics in the Navy, and my students always did real well. Not that I was a terrible student myself, but what happened was that I nearly flunked out of every Navy school I ever went to. I went to these 2 real long schools, and they required, and I don't know, I had some, back in that period of time, nobody knew what ADD or ADHD or whatever that stuff was, but I just couldn't pay attention in class. I'd sit down in class, and as soon as somebody went to the chalkboard in front of me, I left. My mind was gone. I couldn't get it to stay. So I had a heck of a time with these classes. Boy, here's one moving all over the place here. There it is. And I had a hard time with these schools. I nearly flunked out of 2 of them to get on submarines. And you know what? I hope I can remember to come back to that story, but right here, see, the solder is not sticking to that lead right there, so let's do this. Anyway, this was before I figured out that I was much better as an artist than I was anything else. And so, anyway, but by the time I was out on the submarines and sat another, and they sent me to Connecticut to the submarine base to be an instructor. I had so much, I remembered so well how hard school was for me, and for some reason I could, well, I know the reason, but anyway, I could take these students and get it distilled down to where they all understood it. And so consequently, my students always did real well on tests and stuff, because I figured if I could understand it and get it down to where I could actually teach it, then I didn't have any problem with them learning it, because they were all smarter than I was. So I think the teaching is something that maybe you learn to do, or you have an aptitude for it. And so like this glass stuff, I think I'm pretty effective as a glass teacher, because I've had all the problems that you can have with stained glass, I have already had, and I mean had a lot of it. Things didn't work out, and problems. Wow, look at that. Problems cutting the glass, problems soldering, glass breaking. Oh, and so all I managed to do to get to this point is just I wouldn't quit, never give up. We're heating this joint here. There you go. Got a good solder joint right there. Woo, that didn't act like it wanted to take real good, and there it goes. So I think that my my teaching abilities are maybe pretty good because I slow this stuff down and demystify it. Oh man, these are really coming out. We got a little bit too much solder right here, I think. Let's move some. There you go. So I'm just sitting on that joint till that well. Oh, goodness gracious, that looks good. You know, you start to dawn on you that the longer you stay on that joint with that solder on there, the better that solder joint ends up being. And it's because those metals are all welded together. However, having said that, boy, do you have to be careful, because if you stay on there too long, then the joint disappears and you get into having to fix that. Let's see where we're going to go here. We'll come across here. Now this is I love this part. I don't care much for the cementing part, but this part is fun. But the cementing is an important part of one of these. No shortcuts. We don't do that. Okay. Can you see me? Yeah, we're going to come straight across here. All right. Clean the iron again. I think the people that wanted to see soldering are into it. And if somebody just said, well, there's the video, we'll take a look at the video. If they're not into soldering or actually figuring out how one of these stained glass windows is made, then there's nothing here for them. Ooh, we got a lot of solder on that one. We'll bring it back down this way. You can't, if you put too much on, it's no big deal. You can move it around. You saw what I can move it that way, I can move it that way, move it this way. Oh, look at those. Oop, better get one over here. Now that one acted like it didn't want to stick right there. And I left a little heat on it and took care of it. Let's go. Can you see this? Yep. Boy, this iron, I'm talking about this iron again. I'm moving across here pretty quick. And there it is, that blinking light. This thing will maintain the temperature. Now I can outrun it. I can solder faster than I'm soldering. However, what's the point of that? And number two, this nice gentle, oh, we got one that doesn't want to stick here. So we're going to try to leave a little more heat on it and see if that'll make it work. There it went. Oh, okay. I like that. All right, and let's push it up this way and move this. We're just about done with this side here, and then we'll stop you all. I got to clean the other side up and stuff. If anybody, the other side will be just like this side. You know, if a person, it'll be absolutely exactly the same. So if a person need to just watch this video more than once, if you need to, I don't know I don't know what else I can say about it. I'm sitting right there a little bit. There you go. Let's put some here. See how now that I'm just sitting on that joint, heating that up. You can, after a while, you can start to get a feel for when you've been there too long. But you know, I'm getting, because I've got this iron set at the perfect temperature for what we're doing, I got a lot of slack here. Oh, wow, that's a nice one. I'm coming with that heel of that iron right there. Nice. For the soldering people wanting to learn how to solder, man, this is the ticket right here. And we'll look this window over here in just a minute. See, I'm just sitting up there making sure that welds it together. And right here, we'll see. I'm putting extra solder here so I can see if I can. Oh, yes. Look at that. Okay. Well, let's see what we have here. What's this out here? Let me touch something up over here. There it is. Okay. Let me take this phone out here. I hope I don't shut us off here. Okay. Well, there it is. More or less. We don't have the other side done, but I've got to clean the other side up. And I'm going to wipe the flux off this side, which is no big deal. I just take a paper towel, clean it up. That way it doesn't get all over me when I'm turning it over. Let's take a look at it. Gee, yeah, that really looks good. I'm looking for missed joints. I think we did them all. I kind of like the way that looked up there. Some people didn't like that, but that's all right. I don't know, I like it better than if it went square across. I'm glad I did that. But actually, somebody sent me a drawing of this thing that they did, and they had done that to theirs, and I told them, I said, geez, I like that. I think I'm going to do that on mine. They had copied this drawing. And you can copy anything I have on my whole Facebook page. If you see some, I draw all these up myself, but if you see something you like, just copy it. I don't care. I'm not trying to. It's flattering. Make it yours, change it up, do what you want to do with it. I don't care. No, if we tried to, we couldn't make these things exactly like each other, so it doesn't matter to me. I don't worry about that stuff. Okay. Well, that's a small, I can't remember how big this thing is. 16 by 16, 14 by 14? 16, yeah, about 16 and 5/8 square. And I don't know what it looks like in the light. I'm not going to worry about that yet. Oh, I think it'll be all right. It's going to be pretty. Anyway, I know one thing. It's put together well. And the lines are straight. Now that we've got the soldering in there. Oh boy, isn't that pretty? And when we get this thing cemented and the patina on it, the finished work, boy, this is going to be a gorgeous little window. Yeah. Very nice. Okay. Well, that's all I have for the soldering. And I don't think if I soldered the other side and did a video of that, it'd be exactly the same as this. So there's probably not too much point in that. But anyway, I'm pulling up my little stops that held it together. And I'm trying to think. Sometimes I leave these, I cut the drawing out of it so I don't ruin that drawing. But I leave these little boards on there while I'm doing the cement work because I don't want to slide this thing off the table. Or I'll put screw a board down to the table so when I'm doing the cementing, I don't accidentally push this thing and end up with it in the floor. So anyway, well, there we are. There it is. I'm actually awful proud of it because it's a beautiful little window. Okay, well, if you have questions about the soldering, it would be a good time to ask those for those of you that have seen this. And I hope you've learned something about the soldering. You know, I always learn something every time I solder on one of these things. I, get more practice, learn it. Oh, look at here. Look at there. Are you still there? There it is. I just saw that. Look at that. Probably about half the people watching this thing saw that. I'd have caught that, but I'd just soon catch it now while we're working. Get a little more here. There you go. Okay. So I was just looking it over, and I saw that. And I thought, ooh, I missed that. Anyway, if you have questions, be sure and ask me. And the next thing we're going to do to this thing that I'll video is the cement, and that's interesting. And particularly, I think the kind of cement I use. I buy a product. A lot of people, cement is another thing. Like the soldering irons. Oh man, people mix up their own cement, which I did that for many years, and mix up their own cement, and it's kind of like a member of the family. Boy, you can't say anything about that because it's just like saying something ugly about a family member of theirs or something. Well, if you want to, whatever kind of cement you want to use, go ahead. I'm fine with it. And then there's a cleanup process, and so many people use plaster of Paris and all this, that, and other. I don't use any of that stuff, so I'll show you some what I would call beneficial shortcuts at getting one of these panels done and getting it done real well without making a huge mess with plaster of Paris and all the rest of that stuff flying in the air. Oh, goodness, I wish you could see this panel close up like I'm looking at it. It's gorgeous. Okay, folks, thank you. And let me get this phone back out of here again. And I'll come back when we get ready tomorrow. I'm assuming it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, maybe the next day. But anyway, tomorrow. And we'll cement this thing. And then I'll talk about how you get the cement cleaned up without making a big mess. Okay, thank you. Bye now.